Hi folks, Job Comics here. We're having a look at another kind of lost Bronze Age DC comic book run. This is issue number 6 of The Rarely Seen Claw the Unconquered. There we go. Is that Claw the Unconquered, or is that Conan the Barbarian, or is it Conan the Unconquered? Well, you know, it's easy to see why the similarities arise. Yeah, it's a terrific cover on this, isn't it? So this was a kind of sword and sorcery fantasy type title that DC were putting out. It did run for a wee while. Claude did have a little bit of his, uniqueness to him, because he does have a claw instead of a hand. Here's the credits here. You'll see David Michelini on writing duties. Ernie Chua, how do you pronounce that? Is it Ernie Chaw? Ernie Chua? Doing the terrific art. Joe Orlando. Making sure everything stays in place. The Sunset Doom of Declaring. So there was a bit of a sword and sorcery boom around about this time. What year was this? 74, I want to say. 76, good lord. And you know, Conan was kind of big business, and DC probably thought they wanted their own sort of Conan type version. DC never really had a kind of sword and sorcery title. There was a few that they tried out, this being one of them. Claw had a sort of demon hand that he used to keep under wraps, and he would wear this red metal sort of glove. And in this issue here, there's the letters page. Anybody famous? What does that say there? They're releasing a companion to Claw. Sword and sorcery. Crikey. I've got no doubt that DC imagined that they would capture the imagination of the sword and sorcery loving public, and there was a sort of level of excitement about these kind of things at the time. DC hadn't really done much like it before. However, for my money, it was a bit of a failed experiment. You can see Claw's hand there. You'll see it later on in this issue, where the claw actually has some plot motivation in this, yeah. But it's difficult with these kind of comics because, you know, the genre itself does lend itself to various tropes associated with it, and it's hard to get by them. So you get wizards and demons and swords and sorcery. There's Claw's hand there. Good lord. You know, see if he just tidied that up and went to a good manicurist and maybe get those nails done, and I think he'd get away with it. So I'm not sure how many issues that this title ran for, but I don't think it ran for long. I think I've got up to about issue 12 or something, and then it kind of disappears. There's Claw exacting some revenge and some big bully. Here we go. And then Claw kind of disappeared. I'm not really sure if there was any kind of a revival for him. I don't know if he's tied up with rights, or if maybe they weren't allowed to do anything with him after this. But he is definitely one of DC's forgotten sort of story characters, which is a shame that he never made it big. But you know, them the breaks. If you remember Claw, why don't you let me know in the comments, and perhaps you read some of the other DC fantasy-based stories. Off the top of my head, can't really think of much. There was a kind of sword and sorcery thing. There was, do you know? Wow, I'm blanking completely. No idea. You'll know better than I will, gang. So let me know if you're a fan of Claw. Hey, this one's for you. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.